How I feel? Left. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock her hips. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she clap her hips, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video. And in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're going to be talking about top head coaching candidates the Washington Commanders should be interested in for their next head coaching position. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on the road to 7,000 subscribers. It'd be greatly appreciated if you guys come and reach there as soon as possible. As you guys know, I will be going away to pursue my in real life endeavors soon. January 13th is my last live stream, so I encourage you guys to come through. We can chop it up about whatever you guys want. You can come give me some advice if you've been in my shoes before. I got special guests coming on, Pedro Schmidt, Protect Sports, two of my guys that I'm the closest with in this community. So make sure y'all come through for that, and also subscribe to Juan Gotti TV to follow my journey on my in real life journey that I'm about to go through. So that link is down below in the description. Now with all that out the way, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So how we feeling, y'all? Washington, 2 more weeks, y'all. 2 more weeks, and this nightmare season is over. And again, as I said countless times this year, you couldn't have paid me to believe that this season was going to be this bad. Like, if you would have told me, hey, Juan, you're in for yet another 7-10, 8-9 season, I'm like, all right, okay, that's the Ron Rivera special. That's the Ron Rivera thing. But I wouldn't, at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of this season, especially starting off 2-0, I didn't think we were headed for this. I really didn't. But as we know, at the end of the season, Ron Rivera will be fired, and this front office will be cleared out, and the new guys will be coming in here shortly. So I wanted to talk about a few guys that could potentially be Washington's next head coach. And if I don't mention anybody that you're interested in or you think Washington should be interested in, go ahead down below. First guy I want to talk about, though, obviously, Ben Johnson is the favorite. Everybody wants to talk about Ben Johnson. I like what I saw from Ben Johnson in Detroit. He's a solid offensive coordinator, creative. And you can just imagine what he can do with our young wide receiving core. Now, one thing about Ben Johnson is that he has a little bit of some type of history with Sam Howell, as he coached him at the Senior Bowl. So they have some type of rapport. I don't know if that necessarily stops him from getting a guy like Jaden Daniels, Drake May, or whoever, or maybe even trade up and get Caleb Williams. I don't know if that stops you from doing that. Probably not. Sam Howell's starting days are probably over, or at least for him being in the future, which sucks because I felt like this guy had a ton of talent, but we ruined him, and obviously he didn't do himself no favor by playing poorly too. So I think Ben Johnson would be a good guy to that can come in here and change the culture, bring some young blood and have some fresh blood. I think that he will finally have a dynamic tight end. Remember, they got Sam Laporta in Detroit, so that'll be good because we can finally have a young tight end. We haven't had a young tight end since like a dynamic one since Jordan Reed, and I will go down to argue with anybody that wants to argue. If Jordan Reed stayed healthy, he would have been in a discussion with the Travis Kelce's, the George Kittles, the now Sam Laportas of the world. Like, he would have been in a discussion for the top tight end if he never got hurt. So we've been missing that dearly at that position. So I think bringing in a Ben Johnson is going to make tight end a very, very well organized and well produced position that we've missed so dearly. I think Ben Johnson is going to bring some guys over from Detroit, and maybe we can find our next defensive coordinator. Does he bring Aaron Glenn with him? Probably not, but that's just another name that you can throw in the hat. So I think Ben Johnson would be good. I think he would be cool. But I think he's going to have so many other offers that it's not a guarantee that Washington lands him. But you can argue and say Washington has the most appealing job due to the fact that we are having a head coaching vacancy. We have a quarterback potentially that we can draft with the number 2 or 3 overall pick when we finish with. We have a GM vacancy. So you can say it's the most appealing job, but Ben Johnson's going to have some other jobs that can obviously be better for him maybe. Next up, I want to go defensively now. Mike McDonald has been a name that has rose high amongst guys' potential head coaching candidate sheets, as he has made that Ravens defense amazing. Who didn't watch that game yesterday and just thought, man, we could have had Kyle Hamilton? Remember, we could have had Kyle Hamilton. Remember, I wanted Kyle Hamilton, and a lot of y'all got mad at me when I was mad that we drafted Jahan Dawson. I'm like, bro, Kyle Hamilton was there for the taking. Now look at Kyle Hamilton, stud, dog. And Mike McDonald rather has made that defense into a beast. You know what I'm saying? Now obviously it helps that they have beasts all over the field, whether it's Kyle Hamilton, whether it's Roquan Smith, whether it's Patrick Queen, whether it's Marlon Humphreys. They got studs pretty much everywhere on that defense. But I think if you can come in and bring a young guy in that can coach up this defense and coach up some and bring some energy, as bad as I want an offensive minded guy, if we went defensive minded, but it was like a young guy, not an old guy like Ron Rivera, I think I'd be fine with it. The only downside is you would have to bring in that offensive coordinator with you, and you got to be mindful that at some point, if he is coaching well, he can get poked from your roster or poked from your team. So that's what you got to keep in mind. But Mike McDonald is another guy that could be interesting, and I wouldn't mind. Next up, Bobby Sloak. This is the guy that I want. Okay, this is the main guy that I want. I liked what he did with C.J. Stroud. He's a former Washington guy. He started here in Washington. At least got a chance here in Washington. It will be a full circle one for him to come back here and revive this team. I like what he did with C.J. Stroud. I like offensively the weapons that they have had on that side of the ball is not nearly as good as Washington, but I like what they've been able to do with Tank Dell prior to injury. Their offense is really good, and it's like you bring in Bobby Sloak as the head coach, and then he can draft his own guy. Maybe Sam Howell is his guy that he can roll with, and we go elsewhere. But I'm pretty sure, more likely than not, we will be drafting a quarterback, and maybe you get Jaden Daniels, who is a much more athletic C.J. Stroud, maybe. And you compare him up with Bobby Sloak, and that's your guy. And if that's the case, I'm fine with it. And Bobby Sloak is my guy that I think I would want because, again, offensively, I like his philosophy. I like what he's done with C.J. Stroud as far as, his ways to get Tank Dell open. And I know this is a lot to do with C.J. Stroud, but he has turned Noah Brown into a really reliable guy. Like Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. Like, these are guys that are solid, but they're not studs by any means. Like Tank Dell was the only guy that was very well on his way of being a stud. The rest of those guys, they're not touching Washington's core. Terry, Curtis, Jahan. Could you imagine what we do if we can have a guy like Bobby Sloak getting his hands on this creative of an offense by Brian Robinson? You know what I'm saying? So he's another guy that I would be interested in. And for other reasons, I would say if the Raiders were dumb enough to let this happen, I would pounce on Antonio Pierce to go get him. But I already know the Raiders are going to do the right thing this time. They already botched it with Bobby Sloak. With Rich Bisaccia. So I doubt that they allow him to walk this time. Next guy is obviously a college guy. Jim Harbaugh is a guy that I made a video on, and a lot of people wanted Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, he has a good rap sheet or portfolio with having success both at the college and pro level. But the biggest thing with Jim Harbaugh is that he's an older guy, so he may be stuck in his ways. He's an older guy, so he may be he also has a track record of not finishing. Okay, he gets the big game. Now, it may be different this year. Maybe Michigan finally punches it in and they win the national championship. But even with the 49ers, he got to the big game, but he missed. He lost. So, again, I know you're like, Juan, we're coming from a situation where we're not even nowhere near close to the playoffs, so we can't really be picky. However, that's going to get boring at some point. That's going to get tiresome at some point where we constantly are in NFC championships, playoff appearances, and we're losing. We're coming up short. So Jim Harbaugh would be good, but just remember that he's an older guy. So how long does he have left coaching in the tank? 2, he may be really expensive. 3, he may be a guy that comes up short a lot. Okay, next guy. You could go defensive again. Brian Flores maybe is another guy that you look at and be like potentially get another shot at head coach, potentially. And I wouldn't mind Brian Flores, but if it's anything defense, I probably would go with a guy like Dan Quinn or Mike McDonald, like I said before. And the last guy that I don't want back, but you can consider if you would like, that is going to be Eric Bieniemy. If the new regime comes in and likes what Eric Bieniemy has done and thinks if he gets a better quarterback, then he could be good. Maybe Eric Bieniemy comes back, but I highly doubt it, and I wouldn't want that. So those are my head coaching candidates that I think Washington should be interested in, and also some guys that I think are just realistic options that we might be having to, face reality with, like Eric Bieniemy. We may not want Eric Bieniemy back, but it may be a reality that he could have a shot to come back. But there, that's all I have today. Just want to chop it up quickly. Let me know what you guys think about it all in the comment section. Go down below and leave some guys that you think Washington should be interested in as head coaches for the vacancy that is going to come at some point. With that being said, as always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Here's the Washington Commanders. Remember, January 13th is going to be my final live stream before I go and try my new life. So, see y'all later. Peace.